Hello and welcome to Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Mark Gillen of the 128th District in Berks and Lancaster counties. There's so much suffering in the world, and it often leads us to wonder how we can make a difference. But what if I told you there was something you could do today that could save a life? Joining me is Lois Gassert from the Miller-Keystone Blood Center. She's here to answer questions about donating blood and to tell us about the critical need for donors. Lois, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
But thank you for being here.
Yes.
You've got a very bright outfit on today.
Absolutely.
Very summer looking.
Thank you.
But in September, toward the end of the summer, something very special is going to be happening. September the 24th from 2 to 7 p.m. People are going to have the opportunity to donate blood. We've been doing this now. I think we're going into our 5th year.
Or 5, yes.
Where we've partnered. Before we get into the drive itself, maybe what drives Lois Gassert? How long have you been doing this with Miller-Keystone? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. I've been with Miller-Keystone about 9 years now. But prior to that, at my other employment, I was actually asked to start up a community service committee. So with that, I got people to join in, and we started running United Way campaigns and things like that. But then we also started running the blood drives, and the blood drives became my passion. And they became my passion because I wouldn't be here without the help of the blood donors. Because back in the mid-90s, I needed a lot of blood transfusions, and I had a virus that attacked my bone marrow. And I was fortunate enough to have the blood supply available to me at the Reading Hospital, and I wouldn't be here without blood donors. So I am very passionate about what I do at Miller-Keystone.
Is your story maybe somewhat common from those that it could have been a loved one,
right?
It may not be that individual themselves, but a point of contact. For me, it was my wife who needed a blood donation. Do you find that there's that common denominator, that you're associated with someone with a need, or you had that need yourself personally?
Yes, there is. I mean, a lot of people aren't aware that we need blood donations every single day. We do not take a day off. It's a 7-day operation. So people don't realize until it affects their family or a family member or a neighbor or a friend, that the need is real. The need is every day. And it can't be manufactured. So, we need people to step up and come out and put their arm out and donate blood.
And I put my arm out.
I know you do.
Every year I put my arm out there. Now, in terms of giving blood, the logical question for somebody out there might well be, I gave a couple months ago. Can I give again? Could you give us some of those parameters in terms of giving blood?
Absolutely. You can donate actually every 8 weeks, and that's whole blood. There's other blood products that the blood center collects, and that's platelets, which are very, it's a product that is done at the blood center and done on a special machine. So platelets can be collected from a donor every 8 days. So you can actually go in there every 8 days and donate platelets. But the whole blood, which we collect at your blood drive, that is every 8 weeks donation.
So I think it works out about 56 days. That always throws me off. I have to retreat to my math. How many weeks is that actually?
Exactly.
That's pretty good.
It equates to about 6 times a year.
We'll get to the micro in a minute in the particular blood drive that we're working on, but let's talk macro. You're in a region that's bigger than Berks County in terms of the way this is broken out. Describe that region to us. Correct.
We serve 20 hospitals, and we cover 7 counties. I probably can't name the 7 counties right off the top of my head, but Berks, Bucks, Luzerne County. We service 20 hospitals, and in that area, that's where we're collecting blood and having blood drives, and we have blood centers that you can go to. So we actually do have 2 hospitals in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, that we also serve. So we try to keep our territory and our alignment with those donors that are in the area that we're serving the hospitals.
How do we assure that the right distribution of blood exists in the correct facility. If Reading Hospital says, we need A negative, O positive, whatever it happens to be, they call it the Lehigh. Do you help facilitate that? How does that work to make sure that you've got the right blood at the right place?
Sure. We have a separate inventory department that takes care of that. And every day we have couriers who are taking the blood to the various hospitals. If there's an emergency, trauma, then we're on call at all times, and we're getting the blood to them, depending on the needs of the patients that they have.
So when we think of Miller-Keystone, we think of the blood mobile and drawing blood, but you're really helping oversight the distribution system.
Absolutely, yes.
And that's such a critical need. Had there been a time recently where there was an acute shortage of a particular type of blood, and maybe that's just a running shortage because certain bloods are rarer than others, will you help plug that hole?
Sure. O negative is the universal blood type, and typically we're low on O negative probably most of the time. I'm going to say 90% of the time. So in the summertime, we're in critical need of O negative, plus, generally speaking, all the blood types, because we don't have the schools running. Schools are a big contributor from September through May. So when we have the schools and high schools and the colleges that are on break, we're in need of blood. So the O type, O negative, is usually the most in demand at all times.
Summer is the time of critical need.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. You run school blood drives. How old does a person have to be in order to give?
Yeah, you have to be 17,
okay,
and you have to weigh 110 pounds. So most of the time at schools, you'll need a parental permission. So we work very closely with the area schools and getting everyone on board and educating them at a young age that is so very important to donate blood. And they're vital to our community, and it's one way for them to give back. And it doesn't cost them anything except about 45 minutes of their time. So we do cater to the kids and educating them and making sure they become lifelong blood donors.
I'm always a little bit suspicious of someone who says they're not afraid of a needle. There is a little bit of a prick, there is a little bit of feel to it, but
sure.
Are there a group of people out there that this just is a phobia and you can't get them over the hump? I've had a good experience with every one of my Miller-Keystone donations, but
right.
there's other people out there maybe feel, oh, I don't like this idea.
Right. You have to prepare for a blood donation. It's, I tried. When I'm at high schools especially, they're very tender young age. If they have a bad experience, it could, prevent them from donating in the future. So I try to educate them and everyone in the public as well. You must eat well to donate blood. You want to eat a really good meal, make sure your iron is high, and also hydrate. I think hydration is kind of the biggest point in being having a successful blood donation, because it does plump your veins up. It makes it easier for our staff to find, so it makes the whole process easier. So drinking a lot of water is really key, is absolutely key.
I'm taking mental notes
I
right
know
now.
You are. I know you are.
I'm not sure I was always well hydrated before I came in.
It'll make a difference. It truly will.
And I didn't have a problem with it, but that my wife, my children, Dad, you need to drink more water. You're out mowing the grass, you're doing things, you're running around.
Exactly.
I was at a parade the other day, walking the street, and I was really soaked, and I didn't have a water bottle with me. So this is a good footnote.
Sure, and especially in the summertime. I mean, you tend to be dehydrated, a lot quicker than you would be maybe in the wintertime. So drinking even more water is critical for the summertime donations.
In a few moments, I'll get to the blood drive that we're partnering with, but as I reflect on some of the drives that we've done in the past, see a lot of familiar faces.
Yes.
Return customers the norm?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, your office does a tremendous job, and I think just that personal touch, personal communication, the way, your office greets them, Jewel, and when she comes to greet them when they walk in the door, I think that personal touch goes a long way. And the fact that you're there, thanking people, everyone coming in the door gets a thank you, and it's nice. I mean, it's just a great way, and it's a feel good too, because you're doing something for the community that is personal, for individuals, for yourself, and that it's going to make a difference in someone's life, and I think that's incredible.
I have driven through the community on a number of occasions, stopping, visiting with constituents, but there's been several times over the course of the last couple of years that I ran into individuals. I can think of one gal in particular down in Brecknock Township. She's got some horses and was driving by, and hey, you're coming out to the the blood drive. So certainly there's an important state nexus in public safety. I'm a state licensed emergency medical technician, and perhaps given my own personal experience with my wife's need for blood and what you see in trauma, it's really made this one of the highlight experiences of the year. When I go into the Bloodmobile, all right, I know what happens. Walk us through a little bit of the behind the scenes of the people that are going to be meeting needs, servicing, asking questions when somebody steps onto that Bloodmobile.
Sure, and actually it's changed a little bit. We're now going a little bit more high tech, and we have, instead of the 48 questions you would fill out on that paper questionnaire, it's now on a tablet.
Okay.
So it does make it a little bit more private, but you're going to answer 48 questions, and once you're done with that, then you go through a little, what we call triage, and they're going to, prick your finger to make sure your iron is high enough. I think that's the worst part. And then they're going to take your blood pressure, your temperature, your pulse. So it's kind of like a little mini physical, and it's a great way to get a little mini physical and know where you stand that way. And once you get through all of that, then you go to the bed to donate, and our staff, will walk you through every step of the way. I mean, they're very experienced. There's never any safety issues with any of the equipment that we're using. Everything is clean and sterile, and they find your better vein in either arm, and it probably takes about 5 to 10 minutes to donate that pint of blood. For most people, that's the average. There are some that go a little bit longer. And then, of course, after you're done donating, then you go to the front of the coach and you help yourself to snacks and drinks, and
by the way,
and you feel great.
That's my main reason for donating.
Do it for the cookies?
Yeah, right. You come to the front of the coach. I get crackers. Now, I'm going to let a secret out of the bag here. Actually, sometimes I take a pack for one of my daughters.
Okay,
so they're
that's fine.
Yeah, they're in the loop. But you can also learn your blood type if you don't know it.
Exactly, exactly. And now everyone has a donor profile on our website. And with that profile, you go in and you can keep track of your donations, keep track of your cholesterol, your blood pressure. So it is, it's a safe way to donate. It's obviously, we're keeping track of your vitals, and sometimes I even have people come back to me and tell me that, a loved one went to donate blood and they found this or that wrong with them. They went to the doctor and, it was taken care of. Sometimes it's a major issue, and I've heard of, of many thank yous saying, if it wasn't for my loved one going to donate blood, we wouldn't have found out that, her blood count was so low that she needed a blood transfusion herself. So I've heard amazing stories of people who came out to donate that, got help for another condition that they didn't know about.
Occasionally I've seen stickers on windows or pins, I donated a gallon or 10 gallons or whatever it happens to be. Do you keep track of that, and do you give such awards?
Yes, I think there's a 1 gallon pin that you get, and I think the next level would be something around 5 gallons. So we do keep track of that, and that is also on your donor profile.
Okay.
And keep track of your donations.
I'm not sure how deep into the program I
have to check.
Okay,
I'll have to check that out for you.
We don't want to announce it on air. It may not be
right.
Anyway, we're going to take a quick break here.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's take a pause in the program. Legislative report will return in a moment.
Did you know that in the corridors in the first floor of the capital of Pennsylvania, there are nearly 400 individual mosaics. The idea for creating these intricate tiles was first suggested by Henry C. Mercer in 1902. A year later, he received the commission to prove 16,000 square feet of pavement tiles for the Great Rotunda and corridors of the new state capitol building in Harrisburg. Mercer set about designing subjects for approximately 400 mosaics. He chose as his general theme the history of Pennsylvania, and he soon realized that his tiles could tell stories. Although the arrangement seems random, the mosaics are very thoughtfully placed in the floor. The tile sequence is roughly chronological, beginning at one end with the scenes depicting the Native Americans. The mosaics progress into the story of European habitation in the New World and encompass the Commonwealth's triumph through process and intervention. Now you know.
Welcome back to the program. Today we're learning more about the importance of donating blood from our guest, Lois Gassert. Lois, you've been excellent.
Thank you.
Macro question. Now the blood need is in California. It's not in Berks County or Lehigh County. How do you coordinate with an acute need out of our area?
Well, we belong to a national association of blood banks, and pretty much all the nonprofit blood banks throughout the United States belong to this organization, AABB. And whenever there's a trauma, for instance, I'm not going to use California, but I'm going to use Boston.
Okay.
Several years ago when that occurred, we were all on board, ready to send blood up there, and they did need the blood, and there were a variety there were various nonprofit blood banks that helped out. So we were on standby to help them out, and the case would be the same if we had a trauma here in Berks County or Lehigh County, any of the counties that we serve, and that we help each other out. So if there's a shortage in California of any particular blood type, and now they're typing it even further than just the negative, the positive, it's antigens and so forth. I mean, it's getting very technical these days, for transfusion safety to the patient. So, we all work together, and that's the way it should be, because wherever you donate blood, it's just vitally important to the community.
Miller-Keystone is not national, but their affiliate organizations are.
Right.
So we have the same assurance of quality control over the blood, the movement of the blood, the refrigeration, testing for impurities,
Yes.
disease, and so on. That's a
Yes.
national standard.
It is, because we're all regulated by the FDA. So, yes, everything is across the board the same.
Historically, there were concerns about blood transfusions. Those have waned as technology
Sure.
and standards have increased.
Right, exactly. Back in the 90s, it made drastic changes, and probably even before that. But the blood process, for the donor as well as the patient is all safe and absolutely secure.
Right. Walk us through September 24th, 2 to 7 p.m.
That's correct.
Dairy Queen at the
Dairy Queen.
Kenhurst Plaza, right on 724 and 625. What's going to happen?
That's the spot. That's the place to be.
Okay.
Our coaches will be lined up there. I know that we're going to be, making phone calls and getting the word out, but I think people know and expect and wait for that notification that you send out, and once the word gets out, the schedule fills up very quickly. And we went from seeing like 80, 90 people that first year to seeing close to 140 last year. So it has been an incredible ride, and I can't tell you, it comes at such a critical time too, because September we're still behind from the summer months, and it comes at such a critical time, and it's a blessing that has grown, and it's an amazing blood drive. It really is. It's exciting.
It's a blessing to partner with you. And if you call our office at 610-775-5130, Jewel or our Lois or Danny will help you with an appointment.
Absolutely.
Now,
yeah.
I believe that most of the people who donate are doing so for purely altruistic reasons. but there is a little benefit this time. What is that when they come to the Dairy Queen at the Kenhurst Plaza?
It's pretty incredible. I mean, Hamid is such a great community advocate for so many different organizations, and he truly has been, you know, helping the blood bank for quite some time. And he will give a free ice cream cake or a $20, this year, a $20 gift card to Mustang Grill to every single donor.
Now, I have to admit that I've never gotten the ice cream cake because I'm not like a sweets eater, not sugar. And I think they have a sugar-free version, if I'm not mistaken. But I've been over to the Mustang Grill on several occasions, and I like the cuisine over there.
Oh, I do too.
Right, so it's a $20 gift certificate. I don't know how you can beat this, okay? You're donating blood, you're saving a life, you're getting a $20 gift certificate, so some fine food there, right next to the post office and the Kenhurst Plaza, or you can get the ice cream cake.
The ice cream cake. People love the ice cream cake too.
Yeah.
So
and
it's a win-win situation for everyone.
And you can eat it right after you give blood, right? And then you can hydrate there at the Mustang Grill. I have seen folks come through time and time again, and I'm really encouraged by the spirit in the community. They want to participate, they want to give, they want to save a life.
Yes.
But I think one of the reasons that they keep coming back is their assurance that they're going to be handled well when they come. They're going to check in right there at the Dairy Queen. You're expecting them.
Right.
There are some occasions for walk-ins, at least historically in the past.
We try.
It's not a guarantee.
Right.
So it's best to register in advance.
Absolutely.
When you go in there and the technician is working with you, and I'm reassured also by seeing the same familiar faces, what sort of background and training typically do those technicians have there?
I believe they've gone through the schooling at a technical, college of some sort, but they also go through like 8 weeks of training with Miller-Keystone before they're set free and they go into their training modes on bloodmobiles or in our fixed sites. So they do have a rigorous training, and they don't, not all candidates get through. So I think they're the best of the best, and they do it every day, all day. So they are very good at what they do.
When my mechanic is working on my car, there's a certain level of trust.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and when your accountant is working on your taxes, there's a certain level of trust. But I would think the level of trust with somebody who's doing at least minor invasive with your body commands maybe even higher level of trust. And when I've laid back and they've drawn my blood, I have that assurance going in there.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's really encouraging that these are people who actually care. They're having a conversation with you. They're smiling. You're not one of the pinprickers of the day.
Right.
They seem to like their work. And I'm guessing they stay around a while because I see some of the same people from year to year.
Yes, yes.
So this is a career.
I believe it is for them, and they have a rough schedule because sometimes blood drive starts at 6 a.m., so they may work, some crazy hours. It's not an 8 to 5 job, that's for sure. And my hat goes off to them. They're an awesome, great group, and we have fun. We try to have fun. I mean, there's that serious time when you're, getting the donors through, but you have that break in the action, and they will joke with you and try to make you feel at ease if it's your first time donating.
I want you to take us on the journey with the blood in a minute. I call 610-775-5130. I set up my appointment. September the 24th, I'm there.
Right.
2 to 7 p.m. at the Dairy Queen at Kenhurst. I get in the bloodmobile. I donate my blood. I get my snack. I hydrate. Again, I'm on my way out. What happens after the door locks on that bloodmobile?
Well, there's a courier who picks up the blood maybe once or twice during the course of the blood drive.
That's happening during the blood drive itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, especially if there's one that goes, a good 5 hours. So they're going to take that blood and they're going to take it right back up to our headquarters in Bethlehem From there, it gets tested.
It's in a refrigerated
Yes,
van?
it's in, yeah, it gets handled in coolers.
Okay.
So it goes, stays cool at all times, and it goes right up to Bethlehem, gets tested, probably goes through maybe 3 days of testing, and then it's on the shelves, labeled on the shelves, ready to go to the hospitals.
Is any of that blood rejected after the testing? Particularly my blood, okay? They actually mark this as state representative's blood.
That's questionable. Yes. No.
Exactly. Quality control says for whatever reason this isn't going to work.
If there would be a question, regarding the testing of your blood, you would be contacted personally and privately by our medical director, and then it would be handled that way. So I never get into that end of it.
But isn't that exceptional to consider? If you actually do have a problem, at least in some cases, it's tested out, the blood is taken out of the usable supply,
right,
and then privately and discreetly somebody knows that
right,
hey, you may actually have a problem here.
Right. So it is like kind of like a little mini exam in a lot of ways. And I always call it an oil change too, because once you've donated that pint of blood, your body's working right away to replace that blood with better, stronger blood. So.
On rare occasions, someone has come in and for whatever reason they've come back to me and said, I wasn't able to donate today. What would be a typical reason somebody couldn't donate that particular day and maybe has to come back another time?
It could have been blood pressure. We have a range that they must stay in the range of a good blood pressure reading.
Okay.
It could be your pulse, it could be your iron. That's why we try to tell you to eat foods that are high in iron and then also hydrate.
So the reasons that I've just heard aren't because someone's coming in with a particular disease problem.
Right.
It's rather basic, it's rather rudimentary and resolvable. And actually, in several cases, though someone was declined an opportunity, and a subsequent year actually saw the person back.
Right.
In good health, ready to give.
Exactly. And
2 reactions to people who weren't able to give. I really wanted to help. I really wanted that ice cream cake.
Well, then they know what to do next time, right?
Exactly.
To prepare.
This is something where the community comes together. We're going to close with this thought. Mm-hmm. In the course of my travels in the constituent community that I represent, it's one of the bonds that ties me with constituents. We talk about the blood drive. We look forward to the next blood drive. September the 24th.
That's right.
2 to 7 p.m.
At the Dairy Queen, Kenhurst.
Be there.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lois.
Appreciate it.
That's all the time we have for today's program. I'm State Representative Mark Gillen. If you need assistance with any state matter, please feel free to contact me at my local office or through my website. The address and number will be shown in a moment. Thanks for watching, and please join me next time for Legislative Report.